everybody. It's Barb Dunn here with Funding Flipside, and I'm here with our special guest today, Sheri Duignan, and of course, Nikkii Sazza, my partner. And here we go. So,
thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Hi, Sheri. So glad to have you on our show today, and just grateful for you to take your time out and come and be on this with us. So just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from. Just dive in a little bit and tell us like a little bit about where you're from, your family, whatever you feel like you wanted to share, just go ahead and share.
Sure. No, thank you so much. So I'm Sheri Duignan. I am based in Atlanta, Georgia, and I am full-time in real estate. I do everything from, I do have long-term rental properties. I have short-term rental properties, multifamily, and my primary business these days, more active, is private money lending. So my husband and I both relocated out of Southern California in 2020. And about 3 years ago, he came on board into real estate full time with me as well. So we have a rental portfolio that we, manage, and multifamily as well. And then, we just got into the private money lending, and that's kind of where our space has been lately, is really focusing in on, helping other people, fix and flip and build their rental portfolios through the funding side of things.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Wow.
Go ahead. Yeah. That's
so
awesome.
do the two of you and your husband just basically do your own, or do you JV with a lot of people, or what are some of these deals look like?
Yeah, so we do kind of a couple different things. So we started out just using our own money and funding, solely from our funds that we have for fix and flip, short term, generally like 6 month to maybe 12-month loans. And again, for something that's quick fix and flip, or potentially something where people want to buy it, fix it up, the kind of BRRRR strategy, right? Where they buy it, fix it, rent it, rinse and repeat, right? Refinance it, give us our money back, and put it onto, more of a long-term financing. So we started out just doing that, and quickly found out our money, I don't care how much money you have, it runs out really quick. So we now are joint venturing with other partners. So people just like you, Barb, or Nikkii, any of you guys, people who want to be in the lending space. Typically, I work with a lot of doctors and attorneys, some tradespeople, so other people who maybe have funds that they're looking to passively invest, but maybe don't have access to the deals. So we partner, we do joint ventures. And so a lot of times what I'll do is maybe I put in 50% of the money and they put in 50% of the money. And we are funding for the purchase of whatever, property. So we've got a couple loans we just did here in Atlanta, bigger purchases. So that we've got, a partner in, and then we do the rehab financing through draws. And then we have some smaller projects that I bring people that maybe don't have, they might not have $400,000 or $500,000 to invest, but they might have $40,000 to invest, or even $20,000. I'll partner with them on deals that we do, maybe say in Tennessee, where we're doing a purchase price of, maybe 80 to 100,000, right? So, so I do joint ventures with other people so that they can get that mailbox money and that kind of passive income. And I help do all the paperwork, make sure everything's done properly through title, and they get the checks every single month. So it's kind of nice.
Wow. So back up a little bit. So how did you get that pool of people?
I do a lot of networking. So one of the big things I do is I'm part of something called Business Networking International. And it's a group that you do become a member. You can just go also and participate as a guest. But so I'm meeting every week with a group of, again, there's one doctor, one attorney. Well, we actually have about 6 attorneys, I think, in our group, but for different things. So we have a real estate attorney. We have an attorney for family law. We have an attorney for wills and trusts. So we've got about 70 people in our group. And so I just work with them. And basically what I do is I help them understand how I'm making money, show them the benefits of it. And a lot of them come to me asking like, hey, how do I get involved? Right. So, so I network with a lot of people. Like I said, I work with just going out and about, talking to, RIAs, even, other people that are in real estate, and just helping them understand that a lot of people want to fix and flip, but in this market, it might be, a little more scary to get started, right? Because the market's a little more volatile. So some of those people, I've spoken to them and showed them where they can make almost as much money sometimes in the lending side and not have to work as hard. So
less hassle.
Networking.
Yeah. Wow. Good for you. Gosh, you're just, every time I speak with you, it's just you. It's impressive. Are you also a TC? Are you TC? Are you a TC, transactional coordinator, or no?
I am not. So I'm not a certified TC. So I typically will use a TC when possible. I will actually go through, because I understand all the paperwork. I'll go through title, and I will sometimes do that transaction coordination type stuff of my own for my own loans. But yeah, a lot of times I will hire a TC.
And then you have someone doing underwriting for you, or you do that yourself? Or an
no,
extra set of eyes?
Underwriting. Well, my husband.
I got one of those too.
Yeah, I do. He's a numbers guy. I do actually do a lot of the underwriting myself. I cannot lie, but it's not my favorite thing to do. So I will do all the underwriting. We are actually currently looking for somebody to do underwriting for us because we're getting that many more loans coming across our plate. But oftentimes I'll bring my husband in to do the underwriting piece, because that's something he loves the numbers. He can put them into a spreadsheet. He can tell me yay or nay, pretty easy. So
nice. Yeah, I rely on Dave for that as well.
Yeah.
Are you looking at people in the orbit program, or people who are interested in orbiting with you?
Yes.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I was just on a call just a second ago with a woman who's just loves CRMs and just really wants to help me out. I'm like,
yes.
It's so funny how these things just fall into place.
Yes. And I do. What's cool is I actually have a CRM system now that manages. So when somebody sends an application for a loan for me, there are parameters in there that it will do. Like when they put in the stuff, it'll either automatically reject it before I even have to look at it if it doesn't meet certain criteria. And then it'll tell them that, and then I get noticed, so I can certainly reach out to them and try to figure out, where it maybe went wrong. But it does a little bit of the initial underwriting, so at least, if it doesn't make sense completely, I don't even have to look at it. And only the stuff that's coming to me is stuff that makes sense.
We're not to that point, but I'm aspiring to get there. That's great. Wow. Yeah. What else do we have for questions? I didn't really go by the script. But.
I have a question for you, Sheri. I think I love what you said. And first of all, underwriting is key, right, to everything in a deal, right? So I love that you're doing that and that you're looking for somebody to bring on. That's amazing. One of the things I loved what you said is mailbox money. And I'm going to back that up a little bit. Do you find that you're having a lot of new people, whether it's your attorneys or whoever you're coordinating with or networking with, that some of them, this is their first deal that they're bringing their money to, right? Yes. And I always call it bread and butter money, mailbox money, bread and butter money. But do you find that there's a lot of new people that you're kind of training or walking through their first deal?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So
and what does that look like? I guess I should say, what does that look like?
No, I appreciate that. As a matter of fact,
one of the deals you did. That was
well, it's funny because especially people that are going to say like a RIA even, sometimes they're wanting to get into flipping, right? They think that's the sexy thing to do and you're going to make a bunch of money, right? And so, a lot of times when I talk to them, they don't know anything about the lending space, or they think you have to have all this money in order to do the lending. Like you have to be a bank, right? A big bank. Yeah. So I actually have a book, Private Money Lending Simplified. I usually have.
Oh, nice.
But I don't have a copy sitting in front of me, which is very odd.
But it's on your Blink card. They can access it that way. Yeah.
And, I'm writing it down. So if you can they can go to my website. I can give you that. But it's you can get an eBook version, and so it goes through all the ins and outs of what lending's about. So a lot of times, what I'll do is I'll initially just tell them, hey, why don't you read through this, take a look at it. and then come back to me. And usually what I'll do is I'll have them come back and do a meeting, a follow-up meeting afterwards if they're still interested, you know. So if it's something that they're thinking about, but they're really unsure, it just saves me, you know, a little bit of time, obviously. I am also working on putting together a bunch more videos that explain, you know, how their money is protected, what I look for in my underwriting, you know, personal guarantees, all those things. And so now obviously being able to refer them to the videos so they can watch that if they don't want to have to read it.
And you've also done some workshops, correct?
Yes. And I've done a webinar, and then I did a 4-week workshop. I'm going to be doing another workshop coming up probably in June. And so that walks through all the ins and outs of how to, you know, again, how the underwriting is done, what I look for, and like how I vet my borrowers, right? Because that's the biggest thing is I'm not the one that's doing the fix and flip. So I'm having to tell them like, hey, I found the deal. Here's the deal, but here's the people, right, behind the deal, because that's, I think, more important than the actual deal. So I work with a lot of the same borrowers that come back over and over and over again, which makes it a lot easier. So like right now I have a loan that just came up today. Those borrowers I've already worked with on many, like, I don't even know how many loans, dozens and dozens of loans. And so I'm able to go back to, you know, my investors and say, yeah, these guys have this track record, right? Which is helpful. So I let them know how I vet the borrower, how I vet the deal, and then what we do to protect them, and then the paperwork. So the biggest thing is going over with everybody the paperwork that's involved, you know, the joint venture agreement, the promissory note, the deed of trust and or mortgage, you know, depending on the state, personal guarantees, you know, all those kinds of things. We're going through all of that. So yeah, it's, you know, when I'm working with a first-time investor and they come to me, there's definitely a lot of conversation that has to happen at first. And, you know, I always have to explain to them there is risk, right? We all know, I mean, every investment comes with some type of risk. You could lose money. But I also explain to them kind of the difference between like the stock market and a stock that could go to zero, and now you kind of have nothing, that company shuts down. But here, there is a house, right? And there will potentially still be a house. Even if it burns down, if it's insured, which we get insurance, you know, there's still value, sometimes even better value. So, you know, we go through all that.
Cross collateral probably, right?
Yes.
So,
yes. And we will do cross collateralization on multiple properties. So there's, there's lots of different ways we make sure that we're covered. You know, I always explain to them that a personal guarantee is good. However, if the person has no assets, it doesn't matter what they're guaranteeing, right?
Right.
So we go through all of that on our initial, you know, deal. And what usually brings them comfort is typically I'm investing with them. So I'm alongside of them, at least in the first deal. Now, because our money is constantly in and out, right? That's what it's all about. Deals will come across my plate that I'm not liquid at that moment. So a lot of times that's where I will go back to investors who I've already done deals with, because they at least already have that level of comfort that they've done a couple of deals. And now I'll have them do it on their, you know, they may go in on their own. Right.
Nice.
that's
So if
really
you can,
go ahead. But Barbara, ask you, if somebody wants to attend your workshop, how would they find out the information for that?
So I've got a website. It's Opportunity Enterprises LLC. And if they go on there, there's they can go into Opportunity Enterprises LLC / get the book. And if they go there, they can get a copy of my book. And then there's also a spot in there where they can go in and get on the wait list for the workshop. So they can get a free webinar. So the webinar will come to them electronically so they can watch it. It's about an hour and a half. And then the workshop will be, well, I did the 4-week class. It was online virtual, but we are also looking at doing a live in-person 2-day workshop as well. So they'll have options for both.
That's great.
Yeah. No, I was just going to comment. Would you think it'd be beneficial when you onboard investors that it's mandatory that they take some of your content and just so they know exactly what they're getting into? I mean,
and that's a big part of why I give them the book initially. You know, obviously, I don't necessarily know if they've read it or not, but I mean, they usually come back with good questions. So that usually is an indication.
Right.
But you're right. And it's funny, I just met with a guy that I met actually at our Squat Up Summit that is kind of walking me through a little bit of that process, that I might actually start kind of more targeting people for my workshop. That would be people that are the types of investors that are, that want to get involved, and have them go through that, like you said, sort of as a prerequisite to.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, to investing.
Yeah. Huh. Very cool.
No, I like it. I like that thought.
Yeah, it's, well, I think, where are we at with time? Well, yep, we're over our 20 minutes. Well, this has been just wonderful.
One more question before we close, Barb. Are you okay with that? I love to get to know people and ask more questions. This wasn't on your question. I'm throwing it out there to you. So,
no worries.
What advice would you give? Well, let's do another one. Where do you see your business in like 5 years? Like, where do you see that? You can either answer that, or what advice would you give to a private money lender? And you kind of covered that already. Yeah. But where do you see your business in 5 years?
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because there's a bigger picture involved. And as we kind of all call it, our Mount Everest. And, the why behind what I'm doing is the active income that we earn through the, through the lending. What I love is, one, I'm helping other people make money, right? Through and make, pretty good money through the lending. But the ultimate goal is to build a micro home community for active adults 55 and older that's built around the sense of community. So we're trying to put together homes that are 500 to maybe 900 square feet. And I just feel like there's a lot of people that want something smaller but don't want to be like in an apartment. And they may not even want to be on a tiny house on wheels. So we want to be able to build a property that they could go in, they can own, and that is surrounded by other people with, like-minded, community, helping each other. I want to have a shared garden, edible landscaping, sharing library, that kind of thing. So we really want to put the money and the funds into something bigger and a bigger project like that. So, that's
very
kind of
cool.
Ourselves going.
Well, we should continue this conversation, because I'm working with a manufacturing company with Judith, and so that can bring down your costs quite a bit. So you give them the plans, and they'll bid it out and give you a discount, and everything. It's just the waste alone is eliminated. So we should talk some more about that.
Definitely, absolutely, yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm looking at land hopefully in the next 2-3 weeks. So we definitely need to talk.
yeah, we do. And I'm still doing, I know. Well, I'm still doing my Everest. I'm still working on that. 50 people in each state over the next 4 years.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Sheri, before we hop off here, what is a great way for people to connect with you or to contact you? Where do you prefer them to reach out to you at? Do you have a phone number, an Instagram? Where would you like them to reach out?
They can go either Instagram or YouTube page is Sheri Duignan. My Facebook, actually, all of it is under my name, and they can certainly reach out. Like I said, Facebook or Instagram, or really easy ways. They can also email me. I'm fine to give them my email, which is Sheri, SHERI, at opportunityenterprisesllc.com. So happy to have them send me an email, and I give them a copy of my book and my webinar, and they can learn a lot more.
Wow, awesome!
I'm excited to connect with you more. This has been great,
yeah,
Sheri.
I know. So we need to.
Thank you so much for having me.
I know. We need to work with you more.
You're a gem in our community, so I'm sure you're doing so much good. Even if it's outside of our community, I can tell you're doing great things.
Yeah.
So,
no, thank you so much. Yeah, same to you guys. I know Barb. I don't know you, Nikkii, as well, but I know Barb. She's doing some amazing things. I follow her closely.
Well, I think we all should get together and do more things.
On our mountains.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Sheri.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, we'll see you soon. Bye.
Okay, take care. Bye.